millions of Social Security recipients are going to receive an increase in their Social Security check. Some are calling this the Trump bump. Others are saying it's just the COLA increase. So I'm going to let you know the latest numbers when it comes to the cost of living adjustment, how your COLA is going to affect your Social Security check. Is it the Trump bump or is it just a regular increase? We're going to go over articles like this, how it's going to give millions of retirees a big financial boost, but it could be the worst COLA in years. I'm going to play you that full video, or show you that full article, as well as a video clip from a recent town hall meeting.
Graveyard. There just aren't that many people like me who are willing to dig on their heels. But no, I'm absolutely supportive of Social Security.
So it's actually just the audio, but I'm going to play you that full video clip. You do not want to miss that. I'll give you some other important updates as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So, Social Security's 2026 cost of living adjustment is getting a Trump bump. Here's how much extra you might receive. So, we have the new numbers that just came out. So if you're wondering how much more your Social Security check is going to increase, whose checks are going to increase, we're going to get into that right here. So each year, millions of retirees wait anxiously for the SSA to announce a new cost of living adjustment. The COLA determines how much Social Security benefits will increase the following year and help retirees, many of whom rely on Social Security for all or a significant part of their income. So the COLA is always determined based on inflation data from the third quarter of each year, unlike the broader market, which relies heavily on each month the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, the CPIU. The SSA relies on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, also known as the CPIW, while the CPI measures the changes in prices for 93% of the U.S. population. CPIW only covers about 29% of the population and measures expenses more common to the blue-collar workforce. So to calculate the following year's COLA, the SSA looks at year-over-year percentage change for the average CPIW in July, August, and September. Here are the last four COLAs. So 2022, 5.9%, 2023, 8.7%, 2024, 3.2%, and then 2025, 2.5%. So in recent months, data has pointed to slowing inflation. The monthly year-over-year change in the CPIW has gone from 2.97% in January to 2.17% in May. There's still time before the data actually counts toward COLA comes into play, and factors like tariffs have the potential to make inflation change course. But if the CPIW stays on its current trajectory, retirees are looking at the worst COLA in 5 years. COLAs are a bit of a double-edged sword because retirees also benefit from cheaper cost of living, but many argue that COLAs have not been able to keep pace with inflation since the turn of the century. Excuse me. Even with a low COLA, millions will still get a big boost next year. So recently, another factor will come into play that's going to help people who are at least 65 years old. President Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, a large budget reconciliation package. The primary goal of the legislation is to pass trillions in tax cuts and allocate funds for border security, but such a large bill includes many other provisions. So the big one is $6,000 in additional senior tax deduction, or $12,000 for those filing joint filers. To be clear, it is not aimed specifically at retirees collecting Social Security, but anyone who is 65 or older, regardless of whether or not they receive Social Security. So let's get to the number here, which is I'm sure you're probably waiting for. So the average monthly benefit for a retired worker in May was $2,002, or about $24,000 a year. Assuming both married people in marriage receive that benefit for a total of $48,000, the savings will amount to roughly 3.3% of the married couple's combined average benefits. That is equal to the average COLA since 1975 and above the 2.6% COLA since the turn of the century. So yeah, we're looking at like a 2.6, 2.7% COLA coming for the following year, which is a little bit better. If we look at the numbers here, it's a little bit better than the 2.5%, but we want to see those 5%, maybe even 10% COLA numbers if they even adjusted to the CPIE. Now, a lot of you are saying, okay, that's great getting a bigger COLA, but Medicare Part B premium hike could wipe out some of recipients' Social Security increases. So if it is going to be an expected 2.7%, a big chunk of that is just going to be wiped away. For example, Medicare Part B premiums are also set to rise next year at a faster rate than in previous years. The annual trustees report released in June said Part B premiums could increase by $21 per month from $185 in 2025 to $206 in 2026. If the cost of living adjustment is 2.7% next year as expected, Social Security beneficiaries will receive $800 or less per month, would see COLA increases to their benefits eaten up by the premium hikes. So it's a double-edged sword. You get this COLA increase, but now Medicare Part B premiums are eating away any part of that COLA. So it's a broken system. Something definitely needs to be done about it. Let me know your thoughts on this, about the COLA increase. Although millions are going to get increases in their Social Security checks, Medicare Part B premiums are just going to take it away. Speaking of broken system, take a listen to audio video footage that, I don't know if it was leaked, or I don't know if you know that he was being recorded, but this is from Senator Ron Johnson at a town hall meeting. Take a listen to this.
Next we'll go to, I guess it's Jan or John in Green Bay. Which is it here?
It's John.
It's John,
Hello,
okay.
Senator.
Well, thanks for staying on. What's your question?
Have you ever made a statement calling SSI like a Ponzi scheme? And I currently, it's a big part of my income, and I want to have that secured for the future. And have you ever made a statement like that?
Well, first of all, it is a legal Ponzi scheme. That's where I, revised my remarks. It's a legal Ponzi scheme. It is. It's a pay-as-you-go system. By the way, a Ponzi scheme is an investment scheme where whoever's running it brings in investments from people, and rather than actually investing the money, they just pay out those dollars to earlier investors. So at the very end, the late investors get left holding the bag with nothing. Okay, now that's not going to happen with Social Security. When the trust fund runs out, which is just an common gimmick, by the way, it's a convention, but when those government bonds are no longer in the trust fund, they've been exhausted to pay the benefits that are now exceeding the revenue coming in, because it's a pay-as-you-go system. We think what will end up happening is benefits will be reduced to match the revenue coming in, which will be somewhere between 75 and 80% in 20, I think now 33. So again, it's been completely mismanaged. Previous politicians have really lied to the American public about what it is. Okay, again, when the federal government takes your payroll tax and they spend it on other priorities, including Social Security, but again, that money's gone. In its place are U.S. government bonds that have no value to the U.S. government. It has a value to you outside the government, but inside the government, it's just a piece of paper. And so those are worthless piece of paper to the federal government. When the trust fund sends that bond to the Treasury to pay out benefits, what the Treasury must do is issue another U.S. government bond. So again, it's sleight of hand. Okay, it's counting convention. So if you're concerned about Social Security benefits, as I am, and you want to save them, we have to get our debt and deficit under control, which is why I'm fighting for that. If you've got $1.9 trillion average deficits over the last 4 years, now the average deficit projected is about it's well over $2 trillion a year. That's what I was fighting to preserve, okay, or trying to fix. But again, we're a long way from it because everybody's whistling by the graveyard. There just aren't that many people like me who are willing to dig in their heels. But no, I'm absolutely supportive of Social Security. I understand why the government did it. People weren't saving for retirement, but when it was set up, understand that there were dozens of workers supporting one beneficiary, and the retirement age was set at 65 back then when life expectancy was a little bit more than 61 years old. Now, there's a retirement scheme that's going to work. But now that life expectancy, thank God, is closer to 80, and we haven't done much in terms of retirement age, it's completely unsustainable, and we have less than 3 workers supporting every person on Social Security. So it's a program in trouble. And unfortunately, nobody's willing to fix it, and way too many people are willing to incur and be satisfied with these massive deficits. I'm not. That's what I'm trying to fight to reduce. But John, thanks for staying online. Appreciate your question. Next, go to Andrew.
What are your thoughts on that? And that's all the news that I have for today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. When a flower's already dead, don't water the dead flower. That means that when you have a friend and they don't want to be with your relationship, then find a new friend. I know it's hard, but you have to. Then you'll learn from them. So I got a friend, and they didn't want to be with me. So I couldn't help it, but I had to find a new friend better. So I did. So that's all I wanted to tell you for today. Bye, Isabella.
If you haven't heard about the overpayment of 50% and the $6,000 senior bonus, I have a tax Social Security specialist giving more info on that in this video over here. So click that video now, and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.